The agenda, and this is a members only meeting, but there are a couple of guests here this evening, so I will mention that. The agenda, which hasn't been circulated really, is obviously a welcome and introduction by myself. Then we'll have a bit of a trust update, and then we'll ask Tony Rogers to present his proposal, and then we will advise on the questions and answers that have been submitted, which have been circulated to all members, and there was one additional question and answer which was circulated separately, so you should have had that information. Then we'll have the discussion, and at the end of the discussion we'll give Tony the opportunity to reply, and then we'll adjourn and we will take the vote. Everybody should have received a green voting form, and because people who have voted by email or by Royal Mail, they've had the opportunity of it being a secret ballot, so this is your opportunity to put your cross in the appropriate place, and we felt it was only fair to those people who have attended this evening's meeting to have that same secret ballot. The video, this event is being recorded by our friend over there, and I'm sure that it will be uploaded later and on the internet. There has been great interest from members all over this country, and also from as far afield as California and Australia. I would like to welcome this evening our guests, Andy Simpson, who all know well as being the sports editor for the Northwich Guardian, and to my right here, sitting at the end as a, I'm not going to say better looking substitute than Jackie, from Supporters Direct this evening we have Kevin Wright, who's travelled up from London to be here. Interestingly, today it has been announced that the Pompey Trust are taking over Portsmouth Football Club, so it's a historic day down on the south coast, and Kevin is very heavily involved in what's going on there as well. So we're delighted that he's made the effort to come up and lend his support and advice to this evening's meeting. I would also like to make a special mention for one of our members who's decided to run the risk on the M5 and the M6 to be with us this evening. Alan, great effort for you to come up tonight and support us in what we're attempting to do. So well done, and we hope that you have a safe and quieter journey on the way home. I've gone through really all that I need to say as an introduction, and first of all I'd like to ask one or two members of the board to give you an update on certain things as members, so you'll know exactly where we're at in terms of what's been going on. The last full meeting we had was the meeting at the AGM in July. First of all, John, could you just give us a quick update in terms of the finances of the trust?
Yeah, I mean, basically we've got approximately £25,000 in the bank. That's the situation at this moment in time, and we get in approximately just under £500 per month from the silver members. Obviously, for those who are bronze members, the renewals due in January for 2013. So obviously we get the income in, and obviously with the state of the football club as it is, and us not supporting it at this moment in time, obviously we haven't incurred much expenditure over recent months.
Right. James, would you like to give us an update on the 6-point plan?
Well, hopefully that will be the main topic of discussion tonight. Will be the basis of what we propose to do in the 6-point plan. Principally, obviously, one of the major points of the 6-point plan was regarding Victoria Stadium assets and getting those vested within the Supporters Trust, or indeed a new club, should we vote that way tonight. That's still something that is very much on our agenda, and we will be making a formal proposal to Thor in the next few weeks, whatever the outcome of tonight's meeting, for those assets to be vested in the trust and or the new football club. The stadium subcommittee has met once. Unfortunately, the SGM has meant that that's been had to be put to the back burner recently. We have been in contact with a number of football clubs, such as Wimbledon, Linux, Enfield Town, Rushden and Diamond, etc., to see how they've been doing things. And that's something, again, obviously, we intend to pursue and take up on the outcome of tonight's meeting. Again, whatever the outcome of this meeting will be. That's it for me, Paul.
Thank you. Following the AGM, we set up the Stadium Subcommittee, and also we've set up a social committee. Toddy, would you like to just say a few words about the social committee for me, please?
Well, the social committee is raising funds to help facilitate a ground for, well, if this is voted out for the, I presume it can go then to the ground for the new club. We've got a couple of things on. I may just have this opportunity to tell you why we're here. Next Tuesday we've next Thursday we've a gathering. Mark Bevan, don't know if any of you know Mark Bevan. Mark Bevan's coming along. He's the gentleman who published Ken Edwards' book, and he's doing a follow-up book from the end of Ken Edwards' book to this end of this season. Now he's going to get up and give a bit of a talk and answer questions. Obviously he's not going to answer too many questions about his book because he won't sell it, so he's not going to tell everybody what's in it. But he will answer questions. He's very knowledgeable about Northwich and the area. It's not just Northwich Vic, so if you'd like to come along to that, it's free. We'll have a little bit of a quiz after. It's not a difficult quiz. We break you into fours, and we just have a bit of fun, right? There's a few prizes. They're not big prizes. But there's a buffet. There's a free buffet. So I hope you all come to that. It's a get together. It's not just for trust members. It's for all supporters. Whatever sway they are, we want them to come, because obviously if the club's on, we want to get people back supporting our club. Now we're also, sorry to keep you up, but we're also doing we're having a Christmas do. Oh, by the way, the do's here. They've lost our club next week. We're having a Christmas do on the 14th of December. Now that's £7, and that includes the disco and the buffet. So it's a £7. Now I would like to get as many people here as we can. Obviously it's a fundraiser. We're not going to make much money out of the tickets because, you know, the buffet will cover and the disco will cover a lot of the costs that we get in, you know, the money we get in. So if you can come, I've got tickets with me now, right, for afterwards. If anybody like them, if you would like, obviously go home and talk to your loved ones or whatever, and you decide you want tickets, there's tickets on sale in level 1 in Northwich. There'll be tickets on sale behind the bar here. I've got tickets. Vicky, if you get in touch with Vicky can let you have tickets, and also can Edge can let you have them on the website. So I would ask you, as many as you can, come to the social evening. It's going to be an ongoing thing. I think everybody who came to the last one will tell you it was an excellent night, good night. So and if you can make it to that, please come along, or any other ones that we have. And the Christmas do, if we can get 200 people to the Christmas do, well, you know, it'll be a grand achievement for us, and it'll put a few bob in the coffers. Anyway, thanks very much.
Thank you, Toddy. Is there anything that anybody from the board would like to add that I've missed out?
Just to add to that as well, the social committee will also be looking after a lot of community projects that we have to be doing. I know Tony started with the orchard, the orchard project. That's going to be increased over the next few months as well. So if you get anybody who'd like to offer their assistance in the future, keep your eyes open. We'll be sure to let you know what community projects will be going on, so that you can get involved in it and help out. And then Northwich picks back to.
And the other thing that we have thought would be a good idea to launch in the new year is the 200 Club to raise funds ready for next season. Well, Tony, you're the one who wanted this meeting, so over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, fellow trust members. I'm not one for speeches, so I'll be keeping this short and sweet. I'm not one for speaking to the heart, from the heart, because I've lost all heart, so it's all written on paper. We're assembled here tonight at this special general meeting on the request of 20 petition signatories to vote on a new fan-zone community football club. I don't emit inspiration. I'm not one for speeches, I've already said, and as some will know, I'm much better at doing this behind the computer screen. I'm not going to waffle on about the reasons that we're here. I'm sure that 95% of all the members know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. In May of this year, the fans' straw poll decided not to raise a new supporters club, whilst the old one existed. And for the record, I was all in favour of that vote. However, we now believe that with the continued financial and unethical business practices, mismanagement and negative direction of the club under the current ownership, we can no longer sit by and watch Vix, with its long-standing reputation as a great non-league football club, be continuously kicked to the ground and dragged through the mud because of previous and current owners' incompetence. This decision for the SDM does not come lightly. It's a difficult choice for all to make, emotional and heartbreaking in the fact that a yes vote ultimately and officially ends association with Northwich Victoria Football Club. However, the owners at the club are not solely to blame. Some blame must fall at our feet. We were the ones that validated the takeovers for these so-called businessmen that had absolutely no connection to the people of this town or community. We're the ones that supported the club blindly by loyalty, passion, pride and commitment. But it was without question because we believed that Vix had to survive no matter what the cost. The negative list of current club under full control of the current owner with no fan having a say or voice or vote is endless, with absolutely no positives or indication of change in sight. No communication to the whole fan base, no indication that the club will return back to Northwich, no indication that the owner intends to repay the creditors and clear his debts, no indication that Vix will survive. There is a light at the end of the tunnel for Vix fans, but for the current owner, that light is an oncoming freight train. But what of the good times? History in the making, emotional days to remember. And we feel proud, we should feel proud. We've had a few cracking FA Cup runs and FA Trophy runs over the past, in the 70s and 80s. But nothing recently, they've been far and few between. And more to the point, they've been bought with credit and debt. The only history being written at the moment is the fall from grace of our once great club. To misquote Churchill, never in the history of Vix has one person offered so little to so many and lost everything. Vix isn't the business owned by one individual where the history has been inherited and the price with a price tag. Northwich Victoria Football Club is the moral property of the community of this town, and the proud history is the lifeblood of the fans and supporters. The fans of the club and the club, the fans are the club and the club is the fans. And we want to stop feeling ashamed of Northwich Victoria. We want to feel that pride and passion again. The buzz of the week, of the working week leading up to match day, the excitement of the match day, wearing our team colours, handing my entrance fee to a mate on the turnstile, greeted with smiles, buying a coffee in a Bertie's, standing on the terrace with my mates where everyone's a manager and everyone's a referee, chatting about football, chanting, singing, supporting a club that is worthy of our loyalty. We can only achieve this with a yes. A transparent, accountable, open, democratic, fan-owned community football club operating in a financial, sustainable level, building bridges, building respect and dignity with a reputation we can be proud of. But how can we move forward and turn this dream into reality? Well, contrary to some people's belief, nothing in life is free. Everything comes at a cost and a price tag. And the cost of a vote is hard work, effort, time, commitment and passion to achieve the ultimate goal, to reclaim what's rightfully ours. We are already working towards that goal with the social committee and the community project group. Tonight members have a once in a lifetime opportunity to regain the true meaning of a community-based football club, owned by the fans, for the fans and of the fans of our town. We also have a moral duty to the generations of Northwichers no longer with us, and a chance to put right the wrong. We have the opportunity to leave a legacy for our children as a family members of a new fans-owned football club. Not a new history, but a new name and a new chapter in the current history of Northwich Victoria. Some of you may feel that the principle is right, but the timing is wrong. If you still feel that is your belief, then you must vote no. However, think of this. A current search result for Northwich Victoria Football Club brings up the following. Northwich Victoria Football Club is an English football club with 138 years of history. It's currently based in Flixton, West Manchester, playing its home games at Marsden Road in Stafford. To this end, we feel and believe that we have no alternative but to start a new fans-owned football club before it's too late. In our opinion, it's now or never. The membership currently sits at 200 plus members. That's 200 plus shareholders of a new club, each with a voice and a vote. We have a chance to put right what businessmen have destroyed, because our football club, there is no business, and there is no business in football. It's a religion. However, no matter what the result tonight, either way, it will be respected because of the democratic process in which the result has been achieved. Therefore, we, the 20 signatories, hereby propose that the membership of the Northwich Victoria Supporters Trust take a democratic vote on setting up a new fan-owned community football club.
The warmth of the applause there, Tony, speaks volumes. Well done. It was a tremendous speech. Right, so the Trust Board have to follow on from that. And one of the things that we did following the decision to hold this meeting this evening was to respond to the questions which were posted on the forum, etc., etc. And we produced a document that you should have received with all the questions and answers. There were 19 there, and as I said before, there was an extra one that we felt we had to follow up, which you all have received by email or by Royal Mail. If we can start off with those questions. James, do you want to make any comments first on those?
No, really, these have been the view of the whole board in response to the questions, and very understandable and pertinent questions that the membership and other bits have been put to us. You have the right to know the board's view on these matters, these very, very important matters, and we hope and encourage you that you will ask us further questions tonight, because we want the membership to be clear about what exactly it is we're embarking on, and as Tony said, the hard work and the long hours it is going to take to make it a success. So please do not hold back at asking us any further questions or any follow-up questions on the advice we've already given.
Right. Anything further to add, board? Over to you. As members of the trust, this is now your opportunity to have your thought.
Thanks, Gary Robertson, post on the forum as gathered. Chairman of Northwich Victoria in 2007 has cast doubt upon the ability of the Sports Trust Board to manage or set up a new club and to manage it and to fund it. What reassurance can you give to the Sports Trust members that that person is wrong in his belief and that we can go forward and support and set up a new club as we all would like to see? Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, that's a perfectly fair question, because it has been posed by the owner of the club that he doesn't think that people sat before you. But it's not just about the people who are sat in front of you here, it's about everybody, because we as board members only get one vote, the same as every member, and you voted us in as your board in the past, and we would hope that you will support us. Obviously, what we're taking on is a very, very big task, and we fully appreciate that. In my remarks later on, when hopefully we have had a successful vote, I mean, that is one of the things that I will emphasise here, that we're going into a new period, a new era, where supporters are going to be running the football club, and it is we're all going to get involved in it in one form or another. I think it's significant that this evening we've got somebody from Supporters Direct here tonight, because that's the umbrella that we operate under. We feel that we are going to get a lot of support from them. We also feel that we're going to get a lot of support from other football clubs that are run by supporters. And we've not got to look very far for that, have we? Within 25-mile radius, we've got 3 clubs operating at different levels in non-league, in FC United, Chester and Runcorn Linnets, and Wrexham just further afield as well. So we feel as though we can ask for help and advice from those sources. And we feel that this has got to be done. Now is the time. Now the time is right. We've got to cut and get away from what is a shell of a football club at the moment and start afresh. Kevin, would you like to make some comments?
I sat in a similar position 10 years ago in Wimbledon Community Centre, that we decided to reform our football club, and I mean, this week's been a bit of a bind really, given the FA Cup draw, but we got presented with a fait accompli. We either reformed or we had no club. That was it. And despite the obvious differences, and there are some differences, although actually the involvement of various levels of appeal and process in the Football Association seems to kind of be quite a common thread. Actually, you know, you're stuck in this just anyway, this disaster zone. we were sat there and we had a predecessor, Enfield Town. That's all we had at the time. The only other club that was owned by its fans at that point was Chesterfield, and they were having to dig very, very deep. They're not owned by their fans anymore, sadly, but partly because of the legacy. But we looked at Enfield Town and we went, can we do it? I was actually with Chris, the founding chief executive of AFC Wimbledon the other day, and we were talking about this, and he said, I looked at them and they made me realise we could do it. Scale, okay, I understand that. That's something that's just a fact. You can't get past that. But could we do it? Yeah, absolutely. He said, and I was part of that, and I know that was the hope that we had. So now we've got 10 years. You've got 10 years of history on us. You've got 10 years of people doing this, and the knockers and the doubters saying, well, if you can do it at about steps, level 7 in step 3 or whatever. Yeah, you can do it there. You can't do any higher than that. And then well, you do it in the conference. You can't do it any higher than that. Then next, well, you can do it in League 2. Now it's Pompey. Well, you can do it in League 1, yeah, of course, with an enormous debt and a terrible situation around again. You could just about do it there. Yeah. But we've already got 20% of Swansea City owned by the fans, and they're elected director every year, and he's involved in every single decision in the football club. So, you can kind of keep imagining where this might end up. Wherever it goes, this is nothing to do with your ability or otherwise. What this is to do with is one person and his advisor watching the whole thing crumble in front of them, and they need to lash out. And the best thing they can do is make you feel small and make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. It's an absolute lie, and I wouldn't even spend time getting angry at them. I'd just look at what everyone else has done and go, well, they've done it, we know we can do it, don't really care what you think, we're just going to get on and do it. So go and do it. It's the best thing you'll ever do, and I go to meetings, I'll be candid, I go to meetings of fans now who are not in the position I'm in as a fan, owning my football club and being in charge of my own destiny. And I feel it's sorry for them. There you go, actually, I've done this job for 9 years and I'm a bit too much of a radical for my good. But yeah, of course you can bloody do it. You'll do it and you'll enjoy every minute of it.
John, you want to come in?
Yeah, I mean, we might be a little bit limited in our experience of running a football club, but there are some of us sat on this table who have worked in footballing environments. I mean, Ryan obviously has. I mean, I've installed an account system at the football club. And also, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, we've got £25,000 in the bank, which is a big buffer for us as well, really, which is going to be a big help. I mean, we spoke to Runcorn Linnets in April of this year, because they formed a club about 7 years ago, so to speak, really, and they only actually started forming and made a decision at the end of April, and they formed a club to be up and running 4 months later in August. And one of the things that they said to us was, when you go and do your presentation to, for example, the Northwest Counties League, they're likely to have something of a financial buffer. And they said, oh, well, they were quite comfortable, and the Northwest Counties League was pleased to hear that they had £7,000. Well, we've got £25,000. So that's a big help. And also, I mean, Runcorn said to us that they weren't even sort of VAT registered, so that indicated their turnover was probably less than sort of £70,000 a year. And you're probably sort of thinking, if we were to form in the Northwest Counties League, our turnover expenditure would be probably somewhere in that region, £70,000–80,000. So you can sort of see we've got a big buffer. So financially, I don't think we should be too concerned, so to speak, really.
Brian, you wanted to add to that, and then I'll ask Alan.
Yeah, I mean, Gaz's question was, can you do it? And the thing is, it isn't just us, it's our football club. And we set the ball rolling as a trust months and months and months ago. And for the last time tonight, I'll say, we've done quite a bit of hard work, and you've seen some of that. We can't do it all on our own. One of the good things that came from an AGM was a list. We asked, Maggie asked for a list, and with 38 volunteers here. And I looked at this yesterday, and it's interesting. You've got some people saying, I've got a bit of marketing expertise, but I can wash up in the kitchen, I can sell Burberry pies. And then somebody else is a civil engineer, so when it gets to the you know, new ground and things like that. There's a multitude of skills, and what's more important is it's the enthusiasm that will come from everybody that's been really peed off with what's gone on for quite too long now at our football club. So yes, we will steer the ship, if you like, but there's so many questions out there. Who's going to be responsible for picking the manager? We don't know. It won't be all us. We'll have a little bit to say, one or two, but there's quality out there, right? Not you, Toddy, but there's quality out there. And then somebody else will say, well, what about what we're going to call the team? Well, yeah, we can make a decision on that collectively. We can, hopefully, you know, we can do lots of email things. What colours are we going to play in? We won't all agree that we should play in red and white. I'm sure. But you get the drift, you know, yes, there's lots of things. What we're going to be, and we keep saying this word, is transparent. We're going to tell you what's going on. We're going to ask for you for advice, for decisions. Some of the things we'll have to make the odd decision quickly like that, as we've done anyway. But we're doing it for the club's sake, not for our sake. We don't get anything out of it. You don't get anything out of it, apart from our football team playing in our town for our benefit. And hopefully that's what we're going to do. So hopefully that can put a lot to rest about, we don't have all the answers, but as John has already said, there's others out there. I went to Runcorn and got involved with Telford a few years ago. These clubs that are owned now by the fans, they actually enjoy passing on that information. It's not on a match day, because they're all busy going around with smiles on their faces, collecting money. But away from match day, they're absolutely so enthusiastic about giving help to other clubs, because it's worked for them, and they believe that it can work for other clubs as well.
I don't think anybody here doubts that the expertise is there somewhere to put something together that will function as a team, community-based, gear, etc. I think the one thing that people probably want to hear most is where. Where do you think those 11 people are going to run out onto the pitch come August 2013? And I know you can't give guarantees, but you must be able to give a sort of best guess scenario.
Nearer than Stafford.
Yeah,
Nearer than Flex.
I think that's what most people seem to do.
I mean, you know, let's not kid ourselves. We won't have our own ground for some considerable time. But there are, you know, and I think in there there's a lot of content in there. Sorry about this, but we are talking to people. If we said we weren't, you wouldn't believe us. We are talking to people, and we can't say much more than that because they are confident, and for obvious reasons. But we do believe that with everything that we think we're about, fans-run football club, at that level, that we will get well received by most people. And it may well be that, choosing his words, that we will be well received and welcomed because of where we are and because of what we're about than has been the case in the past. But we, you know, as and when we can say something, we will say something. And in fairness, there are one or two things that have happened where members of the board have been talking with people, and not even all the members of the board have been aware of too much of it, because you just don't want to, you know, pass information or lose the contact that you've got. And I can't put it any simpler than that without spelling it out. It is the big one, and we just think that we'll get it right. I think, you know, we're confident.
Just to add on that, you know, without wanting to sound negative, that if it comes into February, March time, we still haven't got something sorted out regarding ground in the Mid-Cheshire area, that's something we might want to come back and inform you about and take a view on. Because we want this thing to work. We'll only have one crack at it. We really have to make it work. And if we have to defer it until we're confident we can make it work, we may well have to make that tough decision. And my garden will look really nice for another year again. Because I do nothing else on a Saturday afternoon now. So we are confident, as Brian says, that we will be well received by the people that we are discussing and have discussions with. That we will find a home in the Mid-Cheshire area. But if we don't, we'll be coming back to have a chat with you guys and girls to say, unfortunately, we've not managed to do that. Now, are there any other options we will pursue? Yes, absolutely we will, but we will need to discuss that with you, the membership.
raise this idea that even this meeting,
have a look at that. That I looked at his Twitter. Well, she talked about it first, actually, on the phone, so I was on the way to the office, and she said, oh, this is what's been absolutely brilliant. They've won. Once people start threatening the lawyers in a position like this, if you've gone and done something stupid, you've done what we know has been going on in the last week and a half, 2 weeks with news and nightlife, that's a whole different kettle. If you get threatened with the lawyers, then you're in trouble, because that's not on. This, if you start getting threatened with lawyers over an SGM of a private organisation, he's not even threatened the lawyers. I've read what he said. It's so ambiguously worded. I could ask a property lawyer for their opinion on this. I've taken legal advice. You know, it's when people start to use that kind of turn of phrase, it's all about scaring people or belittling them, like you can't run a football club. As Tony said, can he run a football club? I mean, I find it amusing. I find it a bit sad. I feel sorry for them that he's got to that stage where he has to start saying things like that. And in terms of the intellectual property of Northwich Victoria Football Club, well, as someone also said to me earlier, if you're stood on the terraces singing a song about Northwich Victoria, is someone going to turn up with a legal letter? I wouldn't worry. In the end, but in the end, you're right to wonder if other people will. In the end, identity doesn't belong in that respect, and history doesn't belong in that at all to a company or to an individual. We're present at the making of our own history. It's ours, and what we choose to do with it is our decision. And if we choose to claim, there are still franchise fans in Milton Keynes who claim that they support a club that is Wimbledon. Well, that's their right. I know that's not true, but that illustrates the point. It's up to you if that's what you consider. And as a group, you will consider that yourselves. I hope this is the last night you have to think about it.
So I would say Mr. Rush relinquishes the name of Northwich, and then we assume that
that's a whole legal. You'd have to just go through a legal process to work that out. It wouldn't be impossible. It's happened in the past with clubs. I think there was one club who did it. Yeah, Newport County. Yeah, Newport County did it. So it is doable. They didn't have an instruction like Jim Rushing at but yeah, it's perfectly possible. But you know what? You might find that name that you have. We talked about readopting Wimbledon FC, which is now the possession of Merton Borough Council. Most of us just go, you know what? The name says something about what we are, and says an important thing about what we did, and speaks about what we are today. And actually, we don't want to readopt that because it's a dirty old name. To be honest, that's our feeling. So you might feel differently about that.
I mean, Tony made me aware yesterday evening there was something on Twitter that then appeared on the forum, and to be quite honest with you, I never bother with it.
Lighten the mood.
That was you who put it on. I didn't feel in any way threatened at all.
I think it's worth noting in that situation as well. As Kevin said before, this wasn't a legitimate legal threat in any sense of the word. There was nothing behind it. What he actually said, if you study those tweets, was if we call ourselves Northwich Victoria Football Club, then he'll have issues with that legally. Well, I think we made it quite clear tonight and in past communications with you that that won't happen. We know that won't happen, and there was never any suggestion that that would be the case. We know we've adopted a different name. So, my view, the last desperate actions of two very desperate men.
Okay. So,
yeah, my thought was a little bit just on what Alan had said. I've seen the tweets as well, and you know, you just get sort of no, is there anything there? And then I thought, well, if FC United of Manchester, who call themselves what they can, if there had been anything in it, they wouldn't have done it against Manchester United. So I don't think we've got anything.
It did upset Man United quite a lot, but in the end it was a legitimate name.
Yeah.
well, and also it was AFC Liverpool, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're playing the North West Counties Premier Division as well.
I mean, the first read of those tweets, and you look at it and you think, oh, hang on a minute, you know what I mean? When you start, you know, they start, I won't use the word threat, but when there's, you know, have you got the money to back up the legal actions against and all this kind of thing, And then the more you do read it, it's, hang on a minute, this means nothing.
I'm not going nowhere tonight.
Well said, Tony. Tony, you want to respond and write a reply at the end?
No.
Well, you can do it on. No, I'd just go ahead and say, let the motion be put. I think everybody's quite happy with that. I just do that.
How do we vote?
Okay. Are you happy with that?
Yes, I'm fine with the motion.
Let the motion be put. Right. Does anybody want to tell him where to put the cross? Right. Find a pen. Voters are going to act as adjudicators or scrutineers. Tellers. Mike wants to be called a teller. All right.
She gave it as legal, so the Spanish shopping when she was
Ladies and gentlemen, always David and Johnson.
No, I was listening.
Just think they're at home here. Right. Right. I'm pleased to say that the adjudicators, tellers, or however you want to describe them, have given me the results of the vote this evening. And the votes cast, there were 145 votes cast, either by email or by Royal Mail or on the night, with everything totaled up. And there were 141 for and 4 against. And it's more than 95%. Right,
We're 95% there.
we're more than 95%. Now, the hard work starts really from now on. Brian has reminded us already about volunteers. If you would like to put your name forward with any skills that you've got, please see Brian after we've finished. All it's got for me to do now is put the application into Cheshire FA tomorrow. Officially, we want to register a football team for next season, and we will negotiate with Cheshire FA the appropriate name for the future. Can I just thank you for attending this evening, and casting your vote with such an emphatic yes in terms of forming a new football club. Obviously, the time wasn't right last May when we took the floor poll, but it's quite convincing now that the time is right for us to start a new football club and continue the 138 years history or 140-year history of our football club. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of hard work in the future, and we hope that we can call upon the support of all of you, near and far, so that we can achieve something. Obviously, from the way that the discussion has gone tonight, hopefully we'll be playing somewhere in the Mid-Cheshire area in the Northwest Counties League next season, and it's going to be a good feeling to be able to go and watch our local team again. Thank you for your support, board, and thank you, Kevin, for coming up and and I'm quite sure that the texts are going round to all parts of the country, and I'm sure that Jackie will be pleased to hear the result of the vote this evening. So thank you all. Without any ado, really, I think you can have a beer and then make your way home. But one or two announcements to make.
Right, Mr. Pett, the Beer Festival. We've got a date, Saturday the 15th of June, so sorry about the short notice. 15th of June 2013, before our first pre-season friendly. And it's entitled, you love this, it's not the 5th, but the first Beer Festival.
And
which ground are we going to hold it at?
And the other thing is, please listen in to tomorrow evening between 7 and 8 to BBC Manchester non-league show. I shall be making my way to Media City for an interview about our new football club.